Hello everyone, patching into today's second video doing the ECMWF Meteo France and DWD long range seasonal model update for this second video. So we're going to go through the next 3 tri-monthly periods with these 3 long range models, see what they're showing for the coming 3 tri-month periods. The final tri-month period will take us through December, January, February, winter 2021. So you're going to see, basically you're going to see what the ECM, Meteo France and DWD long range models are forecasting for the winter of 2021 for this update. So it's going to be a pretty interesting watch. Just to say that the third winter update part 1 was released at 10 AM this morning. So the third winter 2021 update part 1, focusing on things like ENSO, sea surface temperature anomalies, Arctic surface extent, Atlantic hurricane activity, all of that sort of stuff. Video is currently on the homepage at GavsWeatherVids.com. I'm going to try and get on the winter updates page before the close of play tonight with a written summary. Part 2, focusing on the outside of the box analogues from my good friend Richard Trott, will be coming up tomorrow again at 10 AM. Okay, so for this one, we'll get on. Just say a big thank you to Copernicus.eu. Going to be live streamed, by the way, at 6 o'clock. Have a live stream at 6. Will include long range data, I'm quite sure. That will be coming up at 6 o'clock this evening. Okay, let's get on with it then. So we're going to start off with Meteo France mean sea level pressure anomaly for October, November, December. So here we go then, and we see that we've got a large area of above average height centred pretty much over the top and to the west of the UK, sailing a jet stream on something of a northwest southeast alignment. So we're under or close to an area of high pressure, more or less under an area of high pressure, but it is a little bit to our west. A fair amount of dry weather in with that, with Meteo France. And probably a bit on the cool side as well, I would have thought, with temperatures coming in from a northwesterly direction. That is October, November and December too. Right, let's have a look at the next tri-monthly period. This one will take us through November, December, January. High pressure starting to go north through November, December, January. Look at this, high pressure is beginning to push north. It's quite interesting with Meteo France. We start off on a very interesting note here. High pressure pushing north, and you would think this would probably start to turn the wind into the east. So this could be quite a cold signal actually for northern and western parts of Europe. Maybe hints of high pressure becoming a northern blocking feature as it pushes northwards. And yeah, that could be indicating something a little bit colder maybe. Right, let's go to the next tri-month period. This will take us through the winter of 2021. Very interesting again. Look at this. This is December, January, February, winter 2021 with Meteo France mean sea pressure on its high pressure setting up from Greenland to Svalbard. And low pressure develops to the south. You will think that's going to bring the winds in from an easterly direction. I can see no reason, I can see absolutely no reason whatsoever why that won't be a cold winter, really, for much of northern and central and western Europe. I can see no reason why that wouldn't be a cold winter, with the wind in from the west and high pressure within the northern latitudes. Very, very interesting update from Meteo France. Now, as ever with these long range models, the temperature knowledge probably won't do anything exciting. It's always the mean sea level pressure and 500 millibar heights that I sort of focus on. This is what Meteo France is showing for October, November, December in terms of the temperature anomaly. So it's basically average or no signal really through most parts of Europe. Southern Europe may be a little bit on the warmer side, but basically most places no signal. The same is true for November, December, January. No signal again. Really, and then we go through to winter 2020 itself, December, January, February. Again, very little in the way of a signal. These models tend to show above average temperatures though, so the fact that it is showing all of that white, all of that no signal, rather than warm and average, to me indicates that, you know, this is a cooler signal, which you would expect with high pressure within the northern latitudes. This is a precipitation anomaly from Meteo France, so October, November, December. Again, lots of white going on, lots of no signal, very, very little to be seen in terms of the temperature and precipitation anomaly. November, December, January, again, lots and lots of white here, lots of no signal. And the same is true for November, December, January, February, I should say, winter 2021. What is apparent is that it's going a little bit wetter across southern Europe for this winter, so we may be starting to move a jet stream southwards, which you'd expect with driving average conditions within the northern latitudes, and that's depicted there by the driving average anomalies and high pressure, which you will think is probably forcing jet stream southwards. This precipitation just here, probably quite a lot of that will be snow coming in from an easterly direction. I think Meteo France is very, very interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think, but I really think that Meteo France is very, very interesting to start us off. Right, the ECM next. So this again is mean surface pressure anomaly from the ECMWF for October, November, December. Very similar to what Meteo France is showing, actually, with a high pressure centred over and just to west of the coast. You will think that probably sets the jet stream and the flow on a northwest-southeast alignment. So starting off October, November, December, reasonably dry, high pressure in the Atlantic, but quite, you know, quite cool and dry, I think, with some rain at times coming in from the northwest, of course, but not overly wet. Next tri-monthly period takes us through November to January. Again, we see that we have the above average heights in the Atlantic. Looks like a bit of an attempt is being made to push that area of ridging up towards Greenland. That area of high pressure could be trying to get up towards Greenland. However, it's not moving as far north as Meteo France takes it. So, again, generally just northwest-southeast alignment with jet stream. Could be a bit on the cool side. Could be some cold snaps. Quite a bit of dry weather. Then the final tri-monthly period takes us through December, January, February. Very, very different now. Very different to Meteo France. Looking at this high pressure sort of collapses southwards into the middle of the North Atlantic. Lower pressure begins to form within the northern latitudes. We're strengthening the westerly zonal flow there. So for the winter itself, after like a bit of a cool sort of early winter anyway, with a few cold snaps, actually the winter itself generally reverts back to westerly type. Look how different that is to Meteo France for the winter. Big, big differences between those two models there. Very, very different, particularly in terms of what's happening in the northern latitudes. Temperature anomalies with the ECMWF look like that for October, November, December. A lot warmer, you'll notice. Most parts of Europe bathed in above average temperature anomalies. Actually, for the UK and Ireland, we're still close to average or have no signal. But most other parts of Europe are bathed in the yellow and orange colours, and up to the far north Scandinavia, actually, those colours go red. So we start off on quite a mild note for many parts of Europe. Next tri-monthly period takes us through December, January, February. So this one is becoming warmer than average or milder than average across the north of Europe. Southern Europe also looking milder. In between, we have average or no signal from there to there. Again, I think, you know, that this is a milder run from the ECM, particularly compared to Meteo France. And then this south of winter itself looks December, January, February. Again, a little bit above average for most parts of Europe. Big difference again. Let's compare. Big difference again between Meteo France, where most places have no signal, and ECM, the winter of 2020-21, where most parts of Europe are forecast to be at least a little bit above average. The warmest anomalies in the far north of Scandinavia into the north of Russia, but generally most parts of Europe are a little bit above average there. The precipitation anomaly for October, November, December looks like that. So again, very little to be seen for precipitation, which is often the case with these charts. No signal through most parts of Europe. This is a little bit odd though, because it is going for driving average conditions up here towards Greenland and Iceland, which you would associate with higher pressure there. But in terms of a mean surface pressure anomaly, it doesn't really show that high pressure getting that far north, interestingly. But maybe high pressure will be a little bit further north, actually, sort of turning things drier up towards ice and green, which could be a bit of a colder signal than the model is suggesting, I would have thought, for that tri-monthly period. The next tri-monthly period is November, December, January. Again, very little to be seen. Most parts of Europe coming out with no signal. And then the final tri-monthly period is the winter of 2020 itself, December, January, February. So just beginning to hint that it's going a little bit wetter than average around Scandinavia, a little bit wetter than average to the west of Ireland, a little bit wetter than average through here. I think we're seeing the ridge collapsing. I think we're seeing low pressure beginning to get going around here, and we're starting to bring in a little bit more of a westerly flow by the time we get through to the winter itself, which of course is a milder signal. Finally, DWD. So this is how the DWD mean surface pressure anomaly is looking for October, November, December. Again, all looking very all look very much the same, very similar to this first tri-month period, with above average heights, high pressure centred over and to the west of the country. Probably a bit of a northwest southeast alignment to jet stream, so you think it's reasonably dry for the last quarter of last quarter, I should say, of 2020, you will think it's reasonably dry with the Atlantic blocked, but with a chance of cold snaps due to the fact that we're on the cool side of the ridge and probably sending a jet stream on the northwest southeast side. Now, does the DWD take that high pressure north like Meteo France? Well, this is November, December, January. So what it's doing then, it's just placing the ridge right over top of the country. So this is somewhere in between Meteo France and ECM. It's not collapsing the ridge, but neither is it taking the ridge that far north either. So that's just anticyclonic. But with the high pressure sort of centred over the UK, that would probably be quite cold, actually. Cold and dry, I would have thought. But not depths of winter, not taking the high pressure into the northern latitudes and pulling in east winds. However, we get through to the final tri-monthly period with the DWD, which is for December, January, February. Now, do you think that's trying to get the high pressure Scandinavia? It is lowering the heights a bit. It's lowering the pressure, but it looks to me like it's trying to get that high pressure to Scandinavia and possibly having a go, anyway, at pulling in an east wind. Let me know in the comments what you think. To me, that looks like, although the ridge weakens, it also tries to go to Scandinavia, which of course if we start turning wind into the east, then we can start pulling in much colder air from the east as well. So that's like in between what the what Meteo France is doing, which is taking the high pressure in the northern latitudes. It doesn't take the high pressure up to the northern latitudes. Actually, it's lowering pressure within the northern latitudes around here with these blue colours. So clearly we're lowering pressure through there. But it does look like it's trying to get high pressure to Scandinavia and possibly trying to bring in winds from an easterly direction. So it's somewhere between Meteo France, which is proper northern blocking, by the way, and ECM, which is setting up a zone of westerly flow. Temperature anomalies with DWD, so you expect these to be in between the two models as well, Meteo France and ECM. Starting off like warmer average southern Europe, warmer average eastern Europe, near normal across western parts of Europe, or no signal for October, November, December. And yeah, it's not as warm as ECM, not as mild for November, December, January. It's still a bit above average for the far north of Europe up here and down in there, but much more in way of white here. It's more similar, I think, more in line with, you know, what Meteo France is showing, which is no signal. And then we go through to the final tri-monthly period. This is a bit strange. So this is December, January, February, when we actually turn things increasingly milder across northern Europe, and also extending out towards some sort of eastern parts of Europe and a little bit towards the UK as well, which I'm not sure how that sort of tallies with the mean level pressure anomaly that we have there, really. But anyway, that's what it's showing for temperature anomalies. And then finally, we've got the rainfall anomaly, precipitation anomaly for October, November, December. So again, lots of white, lots of no signal. Does look dry on average across the west of Europe. Looks a little bit wetter than average up towards Scandinavia. So high pressure is ruling the roost in the Atlantic. So much of western Europe is a little bit on the dry on average side, which does make sense given the position of the ridge. That's November, December, January. Again, lots of no signal going on, but looks generally drier in the west of Europe again. That's what you expect with high pressure dominating across western Europe. And then we go through to the final tri-month period, which is for winter of 2020, when it itself, November, December, January, February, and most parts of Europe reverting to no signal then. Most parts of Europe reverting to no signal. Is a little bit wet average down in towards the Mediterranean. Again, possibly indicative of the jet stream going a bit further southwards. But who knows? Who knows? By the time you get through that, that's 3 tri-monthly periods out. So it's a very long way off. And I tend not to worry too much about temperature and precipitation anomalies anyway. It's always a mean level pressure anomalies that I focus on. And they're looking quite interesting this month. So we have a big contrast between the 3 models. So on one hand, we've got the ECMWF, which is sort of anticyclonic to start off with, but then it's reverting us back to a zonal, westerly, Atlantic-driven type pattern. We've got Meteo France at the other end of the scale, which again is starting us off quite anticyclonic, but instead of collapsing the ridge south, actually takes the ridge north and turns the ridge into a northern blocking feature, which I think will pull in very cold, or could pull in very cold easterly winds as we get through to the winter. And then we've got DWD, which is somewhere in between. So it's not collapsing the ridge, but neither is it turning the ridge into a northern blocking feature. So very, very interesting and rather untypical of what we tend to get with these models. Generally, they will always be trying to bring in westerlies on that. So quite an interesting update here. I think this is quite an interesting update. And it'll be very, very exciting, I think, to see both how these three models fit in with the wider model consensus for the winter 2020-21 when we do our first winter 2021 season model roundup on Saturday. That's coming up on Saturday. So that will be very interesting, how these three fit in with the wider model output. And it's going to be really exciting, I think, to see what these models are doing next month. Which way will they go? Will they revert more towards the westerly idea, or will they revert more towards the northern blocking idea? That will be a very, very, very interesting update, I think, next month from ECMWF, Meteo France and DWD. Okay, so that's it. So we're going to do it again next month. Remember, it's just a snapshot of what these models are showing. Could all look very, very different next month. We shall see. Don't forget to check out the third Winter 2020-21 Update Part 1. That video will be placed on Winter Updates page, hopefully this evening, with a written summary. And we're going to be live streaming from 6 o'clock. That will include more winter data. I'm sure the third Winter Update Part 1 will be discussed in the live stream, as will this update as well, I'm quite sure. And we'll show you more winter data, probably from the CFSV2. I don't know for certain yet, but more winter 2020-21 data is very likely to be shown in the live stream from 6 o'clock. For this month's DWD, Meteo France and ECMWF long-range update, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.